Hey guys, my name is RyanCentral and welcome to HitScan. Let's get straight into this video. We got a bit of a teaser for the new agent, what their abilities are going to be like, the role that they're going to play, as well as potential hint to their ultimate. We'll go over all of that. This came from a State of the Agents article that literally just came out. However, because HitScan, we are running a watch party live stream, which will start now, by the way. Fnatic versus version 1 should be the first game. Definitely want to check that out after this video. We got this a little bit early so we can make the video ahead of time and, give our thoughts. So let's go over what they said. If you want to see the other stuff in regards to balance changes, there's timestamps, just follow them. But yeah, new agent. There's definitely going to be one with episode 3. It's the first part. The devs say that, as you saw in the last act, we only got Breeze. We didn't get a new agent. And they said there was no new agent. To reiterate, this is because we're prioritizing quality over speed. Valorant is a game played on the slimmest of margins, and we want to make sure everything we put out has a level of refinement that you would expect. There is going to be an agent coming in July, which is episode 3, act 1. And they said that this time around, instead of having a huge utility agent like Astra, we are throwing in some abilities that should feel familiar to folks who have played traditional FPS games their whole lives. But we've added elements that will make those recognizable abilities unique within our roster. This is an agent whose utility can create moments where you must rely on your gunplay. Our hope is that, sounds like an Animal Crossing character talking, but yeah, like, whatever. My keyboard just stopped working now. Oh well, the next agent is coming soon enough, and we're looking forward to seeing what you think when they finally say hello. Let's deep dive into this a little bit. I don't want to speculate too much because I don't want this video to just be fluff. I want to get you the information, but like I said, if you don't want to hear this, just skip to the timestamp when we talk about some of the agent balance changes. I, however, think that this is going to be an agent that has smokes, flashes, the typical utility that you would get if you were playing Counter-Strike, but actually having lineups for smokes, meaning that the smokes might be a bit more potent, they might be just a bit longer or a bit bigger, stronger than some of the other smokes in the game where, like Brimstone, he just goes da-da-da, places it down. If you actually have to use lineups for smokes, average Jonas style, then they need to have impact. I imagine just HE grenades as well, Molotovs, more of them potentially. It's hard to say. They do specifically say that it's traditional FPS games and not specifically tactical shooters. So basically, playthrough, stuff like Quake, stuff like Overwatch, Apex, those kind of games that will have those traditional areas nailed down, but there is going to be a unique twist to it, much like all of the agents in Valorant have their own identifiable spin, I suppose is the better way to call it. I do think, considering that the line is utility that create moments where you must rely on your gunplay, and then you have this weird moment where things break, maybe this is translatable by somebody that could basically work out what it means if it's code for something. I do think, however, that it is going to be an agent with an EMP ability similar to Sombra or maybe even like Crypto from Apex. I don't think it's going to be as strong, but I definitely think there could and should be an agent that has the ability to shut down utility from other people. My instant reaction to that is that that seems incredibly strong, but let's face it, invisibility, turrets, what Reyna did, a lot of people assumed that that was going to be too powerful, and it didn't end up being that bad overall. So I do think, to an extent, that even something as oppressive as an EMP isn't going to be as strong because Riot are really good at adding drawbacks to some of these abilities, right? So I am curious on what you guys think in the comments below. Good ideas, I'll try and shout some out, and who knows, when this new agent comes out, we can come back to this video and see who was right, and I'll definitely do my best to highlight you guys. So if you have any ideas, put them below. But now we actually get to some really interesting stuff in regards to other agents. The first I want to start with is Viper. Now, most people would assume that if we're talking about Viper abilities and utility, we're talking about nerfs, right? That's not necessarily true. Viper's recent balance was a test of a new approach where we go all in with agents that are struggling. Now that she's been out a while, we've had enough time to evaluate whether this first attempt worked or not. I mean, if they need to buff her again, I'm a bit worried, but I don't think so. This is what they say. We're noticing that Viper's niche is more distinctly carved out across all the skill bands, which is actually quite surprising. Now we're seeing her play rate increase. We'll monitor to see if she's still too oppressive post-nerf, or both sides will play in against her utility. I suppose that the nerf they're talking about is the one when it comes to instant decay coming down from 50 to 30 when you move through some of her utility. And I guess they're seeing if that still kind of tough or not. You all should be able to appreciate and succeed within the unique playstyle that each agent occupies, and for the approach of Viper, it's a nudge in that direction. That said, there are some rough edges that we may need to smooth out. This is where they talk about some of the other agents. I'm not too surprised, whilst we're talking about Viper real quick, I'm not too surprised that they're not going to take a pass at her again to nerf her. I think from what we've seen, at least in Masters 2, her pick rate is solid, she's good, but she's not played all of the time hella oppressive good. I think she's just a choice pick. Even on maps like Icebox, where North American, European teams play her all the time, some of the Brazilian, Southeast Asian lineups played Omen instead. Whether that's the call or not remains to be seen. I mean, North America and Europe are still in the tournament, and Southeast Asia and some of Brazil and LATAM and all that stuff aren't. But still, I think that the choice is there, and certainly in ranked in our games, it won't matter too much. But this is probably the most surprising change, is that Breach and Skye are getting buffed, but they're losing some significant utility. This is what they said, it's in bullet points. The goal here for Skye and Breach is to provide them with more self-sufficiency. To do so, we're looking to remove their ability to dish out 3 consecutive flashes. For Breach, we are looking to balance power across his kit, instead of it all sitting on his flash. Now, I think when I first read this, I assumed that they were going to bring it down from 3 flashes for Skye and Breach to just 2. But I do think it's important to highlight that they say 3 consecutive flashes, so there might be a cooldown on Breach being able to use a flash and then use another one following up. Like 8 seconds, flash once, wait 8 seconds, being able to flash again, instead of it being 2. I think both of the options are kind of open to interpretation, but it's still worth noting that it doesn't specifically just mean Breach had 3 flashes, now he has 2. Could be some other stuff. And I think that's kind of cool for Skye, especially with how much information she can get. Also with self-sufficiency, it might mean that you can actually pick up your gun a lot faster after using the flash. That's a thing that initiators shouldn't be good at, in my opinion. It's what the devs, Morello and Arcane, have said in the past, to be fair. But I do think that with Breach and Skye probably not being good picks in ranked for our games, it might make them a little bit better for just normal pleb play instead of the ranked scene or competitive scene even. And yeah, for Breach, I'm excited to see buffs for him. I don't necessarily think he needs them, but just tuning his utility and pivoting it in a certain direction might help out a lot more to make Breach more popular. I'm sure that most people would understand that. For Yoru, comes as no surprise, I think they're looking to buff him again. We're exploring an increase to the power within his unique playstyle. One of the big opportunities here is to make Fake Out, which are the fake footsteps, a more impactful ability. Maybe it blows up when it contacts onto something, you know, like it will break through tripwires. You can move it to kind of like a boombot go towards something like a turret and it blows the turret up. I don't know. I do think that they need to make the Fake Out much stronger because it's a bit of a stim beacon ability and it's hard to get effective use out of it. There's obvious reasons why it can be good, but overall I do think it's just not going to be useful 75% of the time. And for Astra, the Galaxy Brain agent provides a specific playstyle to the game, but we're looking to take some steps to add more counterplay to some of her play patterns that are too oppressive in coordinated play. I'm not really sure what this could mean. By the way, all of these changes are likely to come out, other than the new agent, of course, in the next patch, which is going to be on June the 9th, I think it is. So there's meant to be a patch next week, and so there should be another one in 2 weeks' time. So that will be, it will be the 8th of June that we'll get a patch to go over everything there. Hey guys, Ryan from the future here. I just came in to say that the devs actually put something below this saying that barring resource constraints or development hiccups, you should start to see these changes roll out at patch 3.0 and no later than 3.02. So this is likely to come more in July than June. I would imagine there will be some balance changes in the patch after Masters 2 to fix some of the issues that they may have been having, but it seems the main pack of these changes will be coming in alongside the new agent, which is likely to be end of June, start of July if I was to speculate, but I'm not 100% sure. So yeah, I think there's some good stuff overall to check out when it comes to that patch and all of the stuff coming in. Breach, Skye buffs, Yoru buffs, Astra Nerfs, maybe some tinkering to Viper as well, it's hard to know. But there's some really solid stuff in here. We haven't had much news on balance changes for quite some time because of Masters 2. The devs have said on regular occasions, and I've repeated it on regular occasions, that whilst they have this big tournament coming up, they don't want to change and shake up the meta too much, because the players have got used to playing Viper and playing Astra and how that all works together. But I would imagine, and so many pros would too, that these changes are going to come in thick and fast after this event, because even with Masters 2 finishing and then we have a patch, there's still a couple of weeks before Stage 3 starts up again for the VALORANT Champions Tour. Masters 2 has been a lot of fun. It's been really good fun to watch party as well, so thanks for all of those that came in to tune in and say hello, even if it was just for a couple of minutes on the first day. It means a lot, but be sure to keep an eye on all of the stuff going on with esports. Today, we get to see who one of the finalists is out of Sentinels versus Newturn. We also get to see Fnatic playing version 1, whoever loses goes home. And also Team Liquid versus Team Vikings. Team Liquid not looking that strong overall. They look a bit wonky. Better yesterday with their win over Crew. But I still feel, however, that they have a long way to go before they really look like strong contenders. Certainly with Sentinels, who I have booked to win the whole tournament because they look exceptional right now. We'll see if Fnatic can give them a bit more of a fight, but they have to go through version 1 first. And yeah, I think that's everything. A bit of a 1, 2, 3 moment, I suppose, as well, if you want to put this in chat. It has been a quiet month. We've done some couple of shorts as well with bits of news to go over, but it's been a bit of a challenge news-wise to make content on it. I don't really like to make videos when there's no news to go over. I don't want to speculate or not so much clickbait, but you know what I mean? Like talk about stuff that isn't really concrete and isn't news as big as what we have today. So it is nice to be able to kind of make this content, and I'm hoping after Masters 2, we get to big shakeups with not only the new agent, the new balance patch, all of that stuff. I think that Valorant is going to come out of the woodwork very quickly after Masters 2 with some pretty big content, I'm hoping. But yeah, thanks for watching. Big news on the new agent. Let me know what you think the abilities might be, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. I'll see you then.